Good afternoon, everyone. Meteorologist Bill Rentschler alongside meteorologist Brandon Rector in the 1011 Now streaming studio. Brandon, happy Tuesday of Severe Weather Awareness Week.
Yeah, already today, too. So the week's flying by, right?
I know, got day one out of the way. Kind of a general, kind of broad look at last year's severe weather season and kind of just severe thunderstorms in general. Today, we kind of drilled down a little bit on weather warnings. So, again, a lot of them are probably the big three we focus on is tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, and flash flood warnings into the spring.
Yes, and now's just a good time. This is a good week to just kind of get back in the groove of severe weather season because we are ramping up into what are typically our months of the year where we see the most severe weather, May and June. So now's a good time. But we can get severe weather any time of the year. As we know, I've seen we've had tornadoes on Christmas Day. We've had tornadoes in February before in Nebraska. So now is definitely a good time to get just kind of, renew.
Have that plan ready to go.
Exactly.
Whether it's at home with the kids, whether it's at work, church, just have that plan ready to go. So again, we're going to have different topics throughout the entire week. Again, here is that schedule of topics. Again, yesterday, severe thunderstorms. Today, weather warnings. Tomorrow, we'll talk tornadoes and tornado safety. Thursday, kind of just, again, some general severe weather and weather sources. Friday, flash flooding. You can scan that QR code there on the screen. It will take you to 1011now.com where we will house basically all the videos that we do throughout this week. So again, if you miss a day, you can go check it out. Maybe if you're a teacher or an educator, if you want to show the kids something, you could pull that up and you can kind of go there and show the kids the severe weather kind of basics.
That's right. Or, get into maybe a severe weather event here in a couple of weeks or something like that. And you're like, wait, what do I do in those situations? This will be here for you.
There you go. There's your resource. So again, like Brandon kind of mentioned, this is the week that we want to make sure you have your plan ready to go. We would rather you have the plan and not need it versus not have a plan and then find yourself in a sticky situation.
That's right, because it's much easier to have and not need the need and not have situation, if that's the way the saying goes, I think. I think so. But yeah, it's just always better to be prepared and be ready. And then that way, if it does happen, you can just go ahead and enact the plan versus it's happening. You're like, wait, what do I do? Where do I go? Where am I supposed to meet my family and friends at? That kind of situation in a severe weather event.
And part of that plan is finding out or determining where you're going to get your weather information from. We, of course, always want everyone to get their weather information from us. To download that 1011 Now weather app, but always important to also have multiple ways to get that weather information. In a severe weather event, cell towers may go down. You may not have cell service.
That's right.
Your dish may get blown off the roof. Cable might go out.
Power goes out.
Yep. Got to have multiple ways to get that information.
Yes, exactly. And, of course, we'll go through that. I think that's going to be one of the topics later this week as to what all do you need to have as far as to get severe weather information, where you can find all that.
Yep, that's right. Absolutely. So, again, just I know we've already said it a couple times, but this is the week to kind of get that plan ready to go. So as we dive into today's topic, again, weather warnings, we start with the basics. Again, we kind of go over this every year.
Yeah.
And we still hear feedback that I'm confused. I'm not sure what's worse, a watch or a warning, or what's what. And,
right.
For us, it's like this is this, this is that. But for everyone else, this is a good reminder.
Exactly. So a watch means be prepared. Severe weather's possible. Means the ingredients are there that day that you could.
I see what you did there.
You could. You know where I'm going with this.
That's some foreshadowing that you did there.
That you could see whatever that watch is for, whether it's a tornado watch, severe thunderstorm watch, flash flood watch. It just means that the ingredients are there that we could see whatever that watch is for. Then, of course, with the warning, that's when you want to take action. That means it's occurring or about to happen or is occurring. Therefore, you need to enact your plan when that tornado warning or severe thunderstorm warning, flash flood warning, whenever that is issued, that's the time that you want to take action.
And we should say, again, with the watches, we see more watches again into the spring and summer. But they see large areas is what I'm trying to say. Not everyone in that area. I mean, you may see a severe thunderstorm watch for all of central and eastern Nebraska, but not everyone in the watch necessarily is going to see severe thunderstorms. But again, they kind of paint a broad brush in the area that is most favorable for that severe weather.
That's right. So even if that watch is issued, you still want to be aware of the weather situation and what's going to be happening and be prepared during that time period that the watch is in place to take action if necessary when that warning is issued.
Did you say something about ingredients earlier?
Yes,
Brandon?
I did, because this is a good way to kind of think about a watch and a warning, which is worse. And it is, when you have the watch, it means the ingredients are there. So much like, as you can see here, a cupcake. So you're making a cupcake. Well, you got to have all your ingredients together. You haven't made the cupcake yet. You've just got it prepared to make.
Got the flour, got the eggs, got the butter, got all that. Cupcakes could happen.
Yes.
It's a real distinct possibility.
Exactly.
One might even say it's probable cupcakes would occur.
Yes.
But it's not 100%.
No. So therefore, it's all there. It hasn't happened yet, but you're prepared for it. It's about to happen. You know, it could happen. You've got all your ingredients there. That's the watch. Now, when the cupcake is made and you're ready to eat your cupcake, therefore you have the warning.
The cupcakes are occurring.
Yes.
Imminently occurring. That is when you have the cupcake warning. We also have taco watch and taco warning, but
That's
I haven't
true.
updated our graphics yet. It's also appropriate for this case.
That's another one. I think there are other things we could think of as far as food related to make a watch and a warning reference to. You know, pizza.
Could you
perhaps.
do a pizza watch and a pizza warning?
So,
I like that.
so
All right,
there
I'm
you
getting
go.
hungry, so we should probably
Right.
move on. So we talked about this yesterday, but again, severe thunderstorm, Brandon, can you break down the criteria for us? What makes a severe thunderstorm warning severe?
Well, it's one of three elements. It's either you have the quarter-size hail or larger, so we're talking 1 inch or larger. So imagine just a quarter. As you get change at the store, you know, the size of a quarter or larger, we can go all the way up to, as we've probably talked about yesterday, 8-inch diameter hailstone in Vivian, South Dakota. Yep, that was the largest ever reported hailstone. So a quarter inch or larger, winds of 58 miles per hour or greater, or a tornado. And usually you'll get at least one of, you will always get one of these for a severe storm, but usually you got 2 or 3 of these happening with severe weather situations.
You will occasionally see a thunderstorm warning issued because it has 60 or 70 mile an hour winds, but the hail is only maybe penny or nickel size or something like that.
Right.
Or sometimes when I lived in Wyoming, there would be no hail and it would just be wind.
Right.
And you would see severe thunderstorm warnings issued. So that's just the very basic definition. That is sort of the base severe thunderstorm warning. The National Weather Service, though, in the last year or two has also included some kind of finessing of this definition to help better kind of warn the public. So we have our base warning, which we just talked about. Kind of hard to see the text on the screen there, but now we also have a warning that comes with a considerable damage tag. And Brandon, that requires golf ball size hail, which is 1 3/4 inch diameter, and or 70 mile an hour wind gusts.
It's basically, it's things are ramping up a bit, essentially, when you start getting a considerable damage threat. Now, of course, the Weather Service is tagging this kind of as a, hey, heads up, this is a little bit more than your regular base warning severe thunderstorm, just kind of a, hey, you need to pay attention here. There is definitely the possibility of some damage with a golf ball size hail or 70 mile per hour wind gust. Just letting you know that this is above the bare minimum severe thunderstorm warning.
So if you were ever to go in and actually read the actual text that gets sent out by the Weather Service with the warnings, you would see this tag kind of towards the bottom of the page. We would obviously relay that information regardless during severe weather coverage and things like that. But again, base warning already packs a punch. This is just a way of saying, hey, this is packing an even bigger punch. Then we also have a destructive damage threat. A destructive severe thunderstorm warning, Brandon, will trigger a wireless emergency alert. These can be just as destructive as some, low-end tornadoes, because with the destructive threat, we're talking baseball-sized hail, so 2 3/4 inch diameter hail, or larger, and or 80 mile per hour wind gusts. And so a warning with this tag will automatically activate. Again, like I said, the WEA alerts on smartphones in the warned area. You have to have those turned on, though, on your cell phone to get those.
Right. So on a severe weather day would definitely be a good day to make sure that is turned on your cell phone, because if we are expecting the possibility of some very large hail and you start getting baseball-sized hail, that you're starting to get into that territory, or even 80 mile per hour wind gusts, those are definite things there that can cause quite a bit of damage.
And a warning like that with that destructive damage tag probably for many communities would probably trigger the outdoor warning sirens. Again, Ken talked about it yesterday, but the outdoor warning sirens are meant to just warn people outdoors. It's not just for tornadoes, but for any inclement weather that could be moving in.
Right.
And so that's certainly, again, along with the wireless emergency alerts, you would likely hear sirens sounding to get folks who are outside, inside with a storm like that. As far as tornadoes, Brandon, again, we kind of already talked about watch and warning, but there's also a tornado emergency. Thank goodness. I don't think we've ever had one of those in Nebraska. We
Not that I can recall.
Likely had a couple this past weekend down in Mississippi and Rolling Fork area and Amory area that were hit really hard with tornadoes. It's a very rare situation, but that's when we're talking a tornadoes basically rolling down Main Street of whatever local community, and you could see a tornado emergency issue.
Right, yeah, it's usually going to be for those times where there is visible confirmation of one on the ground heading towards a community of some sort. So that is usually when we see those tornado emergencies, is when it's confirmed on the ground, maybe a large tornado that is heading towards a city or a town or a populated area of some magnitude.
And doing damage as well. So again, we are going to hope to not have to deal with any of those this spring. In terms of flood alerts, again, we talked watch and warning, again, with the ingredients and the occurring, but we also have flood advisories kind of sandwiched just below the warning, Brandon.
No.
That we kind of say if there's an advisory, it's watch out. It can be a little bit of an inconvenience. We'll talk later this week about flooding, but water over roadways is a big deal.
Right.
We always say turn around, don't drown.
Exactly, because you don't know the depth of the water. You can see it, but you just don't know how deep it may be. So it's better to just better safe than sorry on that kind of situation. Just you turn around, don't drown. Turn around, find another alternative route to get to where you're needing to go. Because water is a powerful thing, and it does not take much to not to go too far into the flooding stuff that we're going to get into on Friday this week. But just a little bit can knock you off your feet, and a little bit more can float your vehicle away.
Yep.
So,
and I don't think, after 2019, I don't think anyone really in the state needs any reminding of just how powerful water really can be. So back to severe thunderstorm warnings, Brandon. I crunched the numbers. This is the average number of severe thunderstorm warnings in the entire state per month throughout the year. So the whole year we averaged just about 750. Again, late March now, but we averaged 13.
Right.
I don't think we maybe had like one or two so far this March, maybe.
Maybe somewhere.
It was either south central Nebraska or northern Kansas. I don't remember which one it was. Might have been in Kansas, but we've had maybe a couple, but things will really ramp up, especially as we head into May.
Yes, and you can see that just by the numbers alone. Yeah, March, we averaged, 13 there, and then you get into the 48, I believe, there in April, and then it really ramps up to now we're talking over 140 in May, and then June. So you see May, June, July are kind of our big months for severe weather in this area, especially with severe thunderstorm warnings. You can tell that, but and then it kind of starts going back down. But this is why we kind of remind everyone about this time of the year that we're about to ramp up into severe weather season. So you need to be prepared.
And those numbers go back to 1986 through last year, adding everything up and just kind of averaging it out. This is the actual number observed. Again, kind of hard to read on your screen there. Of severe thunderstorm warnings in Nebraska from 2000 to 2022. So again, kind of a little up and down. Last year we had 896 of them, Brandon, a little above the average. But the year before that we only had 649.
Right.
So a little below the average. So kind of, it kind of bounces around all the place. I would say in the late, 2000s, early 2010s, we had several years with well over 1,000. We're going to keep our fingers crossed that we don't see that.
Yeah, let's not go for those numbers.
This year, that would mean a busy spring and summer for us. But, it also may help us get out of drought.
Yeah, if we could just get the rain without the severe weather, we'll take that. If we could just have some nice, good soaking rains, not too heavy because you don't want the runoff situation. You want that to soak into the ground. But again, we have to take what Mother Nature deals us, and we'll see how things play out.
All right, so here's the same data just for tornado warnings. Again, average by month. We averaged about just over 100, 103 for the entire year. And again, May, June, our biggest months. Things will really ramp up. When I updated this graphic, because of all the tornado warnings we had in December of 2021,
right.
December now averages one tornado warning. So,
yeah.
like we said, it can happen anytime.
Any time of the year. So that just goes to show you that, severe weather's kind of ramped up a little bit here in recent years in December because, there was that December 15th you mentioned a couple of years ago, and then in 2021. And then I remember, I believe it was 2016 was when we had the severe weather on Christmas Day.
Christmas Day, there was tornadoes, and I think there was a high wind event kind of on the back end of that. So all sorts of crazy weather happening in December. And again, same thing here. This is observed tornado warnings 2022. The last 6 or 7 years, it's basically been about 60 or 70 or less.
Right.
And that's warnings issued, not observed tornadoes. We'll talk about that tomorrow. This is just the warnings that are issued.
Yes.
So some of our higher years, again, going back to the 2000s and early 2010s.
Yeah, interesting there where you kind of look at the two different, it's basically about 2 decades that we've covered here, and you can see the last decade or so, not as many as we had the previous 10 years. So,
and again, I should add the 2021 data. We had 60 warnings. Over half of them were in December.
So yes, yeah, on that, and most of that was in that one day, December 15th.
Yes, it was. So we talked about this yesterday, but again, a good heads up tomorrow. 10 a.m. statewide tornado drill. Brandon, is it going to wake you up? Are you going to be sleeping, or are you going to be ready for the tornado drill?
I'm sure I'll be awake, and if I'm not awake, something's going to alert me to it. So yes, if you hear the sirens going off tomorrow, this would be why. And again, those sirens are for when you're outdoors, and it's just one of the multiple sources you have with severe weather, and it's also for those times when you are outdoors at maybe a baseball game or maybe golf course or something like that, and you're not necessarily tuned in exactly to the weather situation that's going on. This is just another way to kind of alert you of something.
That's right. And so again, if you have that plan tomorrow, this is the great opportunity to put the plan into action as sirens go off. Where do I go? What do I do? What do I need to take with me to my safe place? So again, just a good opportunity for everyone to do that. Again, as we get into the spring, we'll do this every Wednesday. They'll do the tornado siren test. Or at least once a month.
I think they do at least once a month. Yeah, at least once a month you'll hear the sirens going off. On the calm weather days, if severe weather is possible on that day, usually they will put those off. But if it's going to be an active weather day when they're expecting to do the test, and many people here, you could probably work in school at 10 a.m. So you'll have your work and your school plan in place. But a good thing to do maybe tomorrow is when you get home back together as a family, or with your friends, your roommates, whatever the case may be, is maybe just kind of take a few minutes, talk about hey, what do we do when we're here at home? Where are we going to go? What are the safe places to be? And kind of have the practice that plan maybe again once you're back home. Absolutely right. So again, good opportunity for that tomorrow, which takes us back to our schedule. Again, you can smash that QR code there with your phone. It'll take you to 1011now.com. We'll have all the weather videos talking about all of this week's topics on there. Again, Brandon will have probably a little bit more in the 4 o'clock today about today's topic. Ken will have more. But again, this is a good setting, good opportunity to kind of do a deep dive into these topics to really drill down on some of those things and hopefully get everyone prepared and get them ready. Yes, because severe weather season is upon us. We're kind of rolling out of winter into spring now, and this is just the time when we start to. We've already seen these kind of big temperature swings happening, and getting some more warmer days versus cooler days. Those kind of things are going to be happening here because, as we know, this is kind of March, April are the months too where we can get half the state and winter weather's and maybe a blizzard warning situation, and the other half of the state's got a tornado watch situation. We usually have at least 1 or 2 of those events in March, April every year. Yeah, because actually, this is the Storm Prediction Center outlook for the day on Thursday. Yeah, so marginal risk. It's a marginal risk. I was looking at this before we started here, and it looks like mainly a hail threat at this point. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe we got some strong winds on Thursday if we are to get any kind of severe weather as well. So something to keep an eye on here as we go through this week, that we at least have a small chance at severe weather on Thursday. All right. Well, for Brandon, I am Bill, and thanks everyone for tuning in and for watching. Again, we'll be with you throughout the rest of the week. So keep tuned to 1011 both on air and online.